This is Rick Carter from Delmarva Craft here in beautiful Chestertown in Kent County, Maryland, and we're here with Jamie Williams, who is the Director of Economic Development for the county. Jamie, how you doing today?
Doing good, doing good.
So we're here in 2022. It's January. We're 2 weeks into a new year. There's a lot of exciting things and fun stuff getting ready to happen here in Kent County, and you're the lady that knows all about it.
Don't know if I know all about it, but I do know there's lots of exciting things happening.
Right. So we wanted to stop in here. You know, Delmarva Craft. We're doing a whole bunch of videos right now. You're helping promote local businesses, and since your job with the county is to help promote local business and enterprise, thought it'd be a good time to chat with you as we kick into this new year. So what exciting things are on the plate here that you can tell us about today?
Yeah, so interesting you said enterprise, because the enterprise zone that was just designated for Rock Hall is a huge win for Kent County. In 2016, Kent County applied for its first enterprise zone in the town of Chestertown, and we did receive that designation. And ever since then, every 6 months to a year, I would ask for the stats to see if any other place in the county qualified. Even Chestertown again, because we wanted to expand the Chestertown Enterprise Zone. So you also, if you qualify, if the data says you qualify and it's based on poverty levels, household income, things of that nature, then you can apply to expand or apply for a new enterprise zone. And lo and behold, Rock Hall popped up on the scene that we were able to apply. So we wanted to take advantage of that. Worked with the town of Rock Hall. They were very receptive. It was a really easy process. I say really easy. The application is about 30 pages long, so there's a lot of work that goes into it. But doing it the second time was a lot easier than the first time. So it was really nice. And then working with the Department of Commerce to get that done. And we had some questions about the maps and a couple of parcels that were in there. But once we worked through all of that and got the designation, we were thrilled. I've had multiple inquiries. The biggest question I think that I've been asked is, does it apply to a residential property? And the answer is no. The enterprise zone is designed for business, capital investment, and to create jobs. So residential properties do not qualify. So some people have asked, well, why are they included in the enterprise zone? Well, the reason we did it is it's a 10-year program. And if somebody applies on the 9th year, they still got 9 more years to take advantage of that tax credit. And you never know when zoning is going to change. So rather than have to go back and ask for a revision, which you can only do when you qualify, we decided to put all of the properties that qualified in that could potentially be a commercial property. So it has to be a business, and the bulk of the program is the property tax credit. So anyone that is looking to make a $25,000 minimum capital investment into a property, they get a tax credit on the increased assessed value for up to 10 years. For the first 5 years, it's 80% of that increased assessed value. So it's a pretty good incentive for someone to apply for that. But if anybody has any questions, they're more than welcome to always call.
Just so to clarify here, this is a state enterprise zone. It's not part of the federal program. So these are property tax credits and potentially payroll tax credits at the state level. It's nothing federal is involved.
That is correct. Yep, it is a state program. The state designates the enterprise zone. We administer it locally, and I am the local administrator for Chestertown and Kent County, and I work with, for Chestertown and Rock Hall, and then I work with the state to qualify the property, and I work with the respective town as well, because we want to make sure that, the town's involved and they know what's going on with the property, that there's going to be a capital investment. And the income tax credit comes on the state level too, and that is achieved through the adding new jobs to a business in an enterprise zone, and then there's an actual form that's filed through the comptroller's office.
So in addition to the new Rockwall Enterprise Zone, are there any new or existing grants or other types of tax credit programs that local businesses could take advantage of?
Yeah, and I always say there's very few grants out there for businesses, except COVID, right? We had all this COVID money come out, and we managed, we've never administered grants before, so that was a little bit of a learning curve. But we did it, and we got that money out to the businesses, and that we learned a lot. For grants are usually very specific, like that it might be a technology grant or an energy efficiency grant, but there are very few grants out there for for-profit businesses. So, but what there are is there's loan programs. So there are low interest loan programs depending on where you're located throughout the county. All of our towns are sustainable communities, so they do qualify for Department of Housing and Community Development neighborhood business works loan programs. So there are loan programs out there. The only grant program we have open right now currently is we do have a micro ag grant to help our agricultural businesses kind of like expand or market, and that grant program is open right now up until February 18th.
Gotcha. We've talked many times in the past about the importance of broadband access and that sort of thing to the economic viability of any community going forward. I mean, that's basically the superhighway that business takes place on in our current era. Any updates on the fiber optic projects here in the county?
I don't know much of the details there because we've been focused on this side, but I know that our IT department has been very active with those grants at a federal level and at the state level, and working with our different partners who are providing fiber. Of course, Think Big was the internet service provider through Fiber Optic Systems, and then we also have Talkie Fiber, who has got some of those grants through the state and federal government. And now with Chop Tank doing their fiber project, Chop Tank's starting to get involved because half of Kent County is served by Delmarva Power and then the other half by Chop Tank. So there are some areas where they will be looking to do some fiber service throughout the county. So now we have 3 fiber providers within Kent County, and prior to the count, I can hardly believe it, but it probably was 2015 or 2016, time has flown, we didn't have any fiber throughout the county. So made a lot of progress. I know those projects are ongoing, but I don't know the details.
So the editorial comment here from off camera is anybody who sees this, who's living in a super congested area and wants the country lifestyle and is concerned about moving to a place like Kent County because you need good internet access, it's probably safe to say at this point we may have more miles of fiber optic cable per capita than any county in the state.
It probably is safe to say that, yeah. And we started a saying a while ago, and it's on the back of my business card, and it says, "If you could work from anywhere, you would live here." And that it's just become more apparently true as a result of the fiber build out, and then with COVID really taught us that we really literally can work from anywhere.
Yeah, and so we've seen, let's talk about people relocating here. We've seen in Rock Hall, where I live, during the COVID pandemic, a number of new faces in town.
Yes.
When I first moved there 2.5 years ago, there were quite a few for sale signs in town, and they're mostly gone now. And
Yes.
A lot of people from other places have discovered what a wonderful little town in a county and a community this is. What are the thoughts or any plans you can share with us at the county level as far as any development of housing and any projects that might be coming?
There's been talk of several developments. To share them individually right now, I don't think I could put my mind around it. But I will say that there's been plans out there, and I think more of those plans will come to fruition now as a result of this, because our housing inventory is very low.
Okay, after a brief intermission, we're back with Jamie Williams, Economic Development Director for Kent County. So we were talking about
New faces in Rock Hall.
new faces in Rock Hall and technologies and
And-
where we're going with housing. And
Yeah, so it's interesting the timing of the 2020 census and the timing of COVID pandemic, right? So it all hit right about the same time. The interesting thing with the census numbers is I think we're going to see that if we had done them if we had done them maybe a year later, it would be a lot different picture for Kent County than it was prior to the pandemic. So it was just kind of an interesting timing thing there because housing sales were very good for Kent County this past year. So we get those stats shared with our Economic and Tourism Development Commission yearly by a local real estate broker, and she'll be doing that update in February as long as she can get all the data she needs to put the presentation together, and at the latest in March. So we're really looking forward to those numbers. But I'm also, the census numbers are really important because, a lot of people go back and reference them. I think what's important to remember with census numbers, the American Community Survey send out samplings to communities that are 50,000 or more. Remember, Kent County only has a population of 20,000. So all of our projections and everything are done on algorithms, and we know all of the anomalies that can happen with algorithms. Mm-hmm. So is it a true picture of how Kent County has grown? And if I had to guess, based on all of the new people, I've seen so many posts on Facebook about, I'm new to the area, I'm looking for a vet. I'm new to the area, I'm looking for lawn care. I'm new to the area. So based on that and just our observation of the real estate sales, I think we're going to see a huge increase in population in Kent County. I shouldn't say huge. We're going to see a substantial increase. And we've had a lot of people who had second homes here that have now decided that this is going to be their primary resident.
Hooray.
As a result of COVID, they know that they can stay here now and work remotely.
Right. So I want to ask another question. If this is not under your purview, or you have, then feel free to just push it aside. But one concern I hear some people focus on a bit is healthcare here, and you hear a lot of rumors about the hospitals doing this, the hospitals doing that. Is there any insight that you can give to us with any services at the hospital, or is that the question I need to ask somebody else?
No, interestingly, I'm a member of the Chestertown Rotary, and we just had our meeting today. And Dennis Welch, who is the director, spoke today. So I got a little bit of insight about the hospital and the direction they're going. So they are going for a rural hospital designation. They're working on all the paperwork and everything. It's not official, but that's what's going to happen. And critical care access. So there's all kinds of qualifiers for that, distance from the hospital, they have to have an emergency room, you have to have some inpatient beds, different things like that. So, the hospital system really is doing the best they can to make sure that they have a sustainable model here so that people that need care can get the care they need. And I know we hear so often about, I went there, but then I had to be shipped out. Well, there's a lot of places that you're going to have to be shipped out from. It's not just Chestertown. If you think about the transfers that happen, if you go to Easton, you can get transferred to Baltimore. Lots of hospitals within Baltimore transfer to bigger hospitals in Baltimore. So you might, go to one hospital, but then need to be shipped to a big one is the University of Maryland Shock Trauma. So it just depends on the situation.
Well, I'll interject into this conversation.
Sure.
And it's glad to hear that they've got a plan that they're working forward on. After I had over 3 decades of working in the healthcare system, and there's a lot of great new high-tech services and things that they can do that are near miraculous compared to even when I was born years ago. And those things are incredibly expensive.
Right.
And you can't cost justify some of these equipment and procedures in counties with 20,000 people. You're going to have to go to a city with 500,000, 600,000, 1 million people for that cost to be justified. And for anybody who sees this, and I'll leave this in the edited version, this is not a Chestertown or Kent County specific issue.
Correct.
There are services alterations, I'll describe it that way, taking place at Christiana Care and Union Hospital in Elkton. It could be worse, folks. Where I grew up across the line in Pennsylvania, Jennersville Hospital in West Grove and Brandywine Hospital near Westchester have closed.
A lot of the smaller communities, hospitals have closed. You're exactly right. I think it's the percentage rate I last read was over 10% have closed. And because, the model just wasn't sustainable.
But I also, as a corollary to what you learned today at the Rotary meeting, I understand also that the hospital is working on telehealth initiative, and they have a team that's working on how that's going to be rolled out and implemented around the county.
Absolutely, and Dennis was also talking about how, like, if they don't have the a respiratory therapist right there, they can actually get on video with a respiratory therapist that's remote, and they can walk like the nurse or the nurse practitioner through how to do that care. And I don't remember all the technical sides of it because I'm terrible when it comes to medicine. So if you ever ask me like what's wrong with somebody, I don't even like to say because I always get it mixed up. But whatever it was, he was saying that him as an untrained professional was able to do it within a short amount of time. So if you get people with medical experience doing it, obviously they're going to do a lot better. But just the access to that telecommunications, telemedicine, and also being able to fly in specialists when they might need them here. So if they get someone that is in a particular health crisis and they need that expertise, they can fly in someone with that expertise and transport with that person to make sure they get to where they need to be safely.
Yes, I think people also keep in mind if there's an emergent situation like that, the helicopter flight from here to like shock trauma or Johns Hopkins in Baltimore is not all that long because in a straight line, that's a pretty short flight.
That's right.
So then I'm going to totally change gears here. We're talking about economic development, and you also oversee the wonderful Jonna Carter and tourism here in Kent County. Any new initiatives or exciting things you can tell us about tourism for 2022?
Yeah, I will definitely say we launched a newsletter, a monthly newsletter, about 6 months ago, but we've really started pushing it out on social media now. We've also got the sign up link right from our website pages now. So we're really trying to build that audience. In a similar fashion, we're doing an economic development newsletter for grants and programs that we talked about earlier. And the tourism newsletter comes at the beginning of the month, and the economic development newsletter mid-month. So those are two things that we're working on. Also in reference to tourism, one thing that we have an events calendar, which we've always had an events calendar on our website, which has been awesome. But what we've done is we have found some sites, regional sites, where we can list and post our events so that they're getting out to a broader audience. So if we, for example, we have a membership with the Maryland Tourism Coalition, and they have an events calendar. So any of our big events, we're listing them there as well. We're listing them with Recreation News, just different places where we can get the message out a little bit broader. We're doing more with social media, pushing things out on social media, and more with digital advertising opposed to print.
I heartily endorse those efforts.
Yes.
So we know the usually big acts here every year. We're going to have the Tea Party, the downrigging. We'll have all of the fun and frivolity at Pirates and Wenches and Fall Fest in Rock Hall, and all the craziness that goes along with that.
Yes.
Anything else coming down this year? And I should also mention our owners. We've got 2 triathlons that run out of Rock Hall, spring and fall. Any other new events coming in Chestertown?
I'm hearing that the HP Festival is coming back this year, so that will be great. Harry Potter. So that's always a big draw. So I hear that that's coming back as well. And then there's a few smaller events. I tell you, the Chestertown Rotary had a wonderful soup and sip this year. We had a record turnout. It was amazing. The Chamber does a brew fest, and I know that they're going to try to up that for next year and do some things a little bit different. But those are the big ones. Those are the big ones.
And the Dickens Festival will be back this year, hopefully?
Yes, we understand that will be an annual event. So on our website, we have kind of changed how we listed our events too. That's another. We've been really working on our website, trying to upgrade it and make it so that it's more user friendly.
And what is the website we should go to?
So kentcounty.com/visitors if you are looking for tourism related information, and kentcounty.com/business if you're looking for anything economic development related or services for your business.
Cool.
So on the events site, we now have monthly events, and then we also have annual events and holiday events. So we've kind of broken it out so it's easier to navigate, and we're changing the layout. So hopefully people will find it a lot more user friendly. But we're continuing to meet with their information technology department on a, I don't want to say monthly basis because it took them about a month and a half off during the holidays, but about monthly, we're meeting with them to go over and say, okay, can we tweak this? Can we tweak that? A lot of changes we can make on our own now that IT has it set up for us. So there are some things we don't even have to go to IT. We can just update them, fix them, and move on with our day. But some of the more complicated stuff, like I said, we're meeting with them monthly and trying to make those improvements.
Cool. So as we wrap up here, anything you want to close with, telling people about why they should live, work, play, and enjoy life here in Kent County?
Right, because it's the home of wide open spaces. So, we hear so often, that people are crowded and, they just want to get away. Outdoor recreation is, there's such a huge demand for it. This is definitely the place to be. We have a hidden gem with Eastern Neck Wildlife Refuge. And so if you really want to get away from it all, just still work. And, at 4 o'clock you could be at your desk working, and at 4:30 or 5 o'clock you could be out on the river, in a canoe, if that's your thing. So, yeah.
And you got to throw in here that we have the most beautiful sunsets in Maryland, period. And this is coming from a guy who lived in Key West. They're the most beautiful sunsets in the state.
Absolutely. And if you just follow some of the amazing pictures I see that our residents take on Rock Hall Life and Chestertown Life, they're just some amazing photos.
Have you ever seen a community of people at large more focused on just going out and finding something beautiful to take a picture of?
No.
And I've never understood anything like it.
I've not.
I mean, hundreds of people every week are here's a picture of something that's just really cool.
Yes.
Whether it's an eagle or whatever it is, an osprey, landing, or the tundra swans out at Eastern Neck.
Yes.
Or the sunsets. It's every day somebody has a picture, or even some really, really, really outrageously good photos of a couple of old boats sitting in a really still water at a dock somewhere. They're just in the perfect light. I mean, it's just people are posting this stuff every day. And a lot of these photos, almost all these photos, are not filtered. It is that pretty, folks.
It really is. And you just reminded me, the winter bird walks at Eastern Neck Island are taking place. So, check out kentcounty.com/visitors. Look at the events. I believe they have bird walks scheduled for December, January, February, and March. So, but my understanding is they fill up fast. So if you would like to take advantage of it, get on there and register.
KentCounty.com/visitors, folks.
Yep.
Jamie, thank you for your time. Really
Thank you, Rick.
appreciate it. We'll talk again soon. Thanks for everything you do for the county.
Thank you.